Welcome. My name is David Elwood. I'm the Dean of the Kennedy School here, and I want to welcome you to the John F. Kennedy Jr. Forum. I do have one request before we begin, which is that each of you turn off your cell phones so as not to interrupt the proceedings, because I think it's going to be a very important evening here at the Kennedy School. The man we have with us tonight meets by every standard the definition of a Renaissance man. He is someone who is, of course, the president of Senegal, but he is a man who comes from many different traditions with a very rich and important background. He grew up in Cambamer, Senegal. He was educated in a variety of places. Indeed, his education takes a whole page. It ranges from economics to physics to law. His honorary degrees are even longer. They are on, near as I can tell, essentially every continent, and they are given for a very good reason. This is a man who has provided enormous insight and provided dramatic leadership in a powerfully and important time across the world. Now, the best evidence I can give you that he's a Renaissance man is this card right here. This card says Harvard College Library Borrower, Special Borrower Card. Mr. Wade, 6/10/1967. So among his education, it includes Harvard. So we, of course, in the tradition of Harvard, therefore, we are prepared to claim complete credit for all of his remarkable achievements in that time. I want to thank the Harvard University African Hip Hop Research Project for their pivotal role in bringing President Wade here tonight. And their main objective is to do research in the influence of hip hop in contemporary African life, in the musics and the lyrics and the like. And President Wade, to give you some examples of what kinds of things he brings, he is soon to publish a book on the mathematics of analytic economics. He is leading an effort on the major cultural renaissance in Africa and certainly in Senegal. He has he has received all kinds of awards, and he served in government, Minister of State twice, elected in 2000 as Senegal's third president. It was a landmark, a changing of the guard in a 40-year that ended 40 years of one-party rule. He has played an integral role in the Senegalese Democratic Party. He's the leader of it and has been so since its founding in 1974. There is no question he is one of Africa's new leaders. He's the co-founder and leader of the new Partnership for African Development. NEPAD seeks to eradicate poverty, to place African countries on a path of sustainable growth and development, to enhance Africans' participation in the economy and accelerate the empowerment of women. He has received enormous numbers of major awards and honorary degrees of many sorts. He received, for example, in 2005, the UNESCO Houphouët Boigny Peace Prize, and in receiving that award, it praised the President for placing education and culture at the heart of public action in the country. Under your guidance, Senegal has become a model, they went on to say. Now, the interesting thing about Mr. President is that you started as an assistant professor in economics, no less. I do not believe a great many of our assistant professors in economics will grow up to provide leadership as the head of state of such an important country, or frankly, of any country. So it is an incredible journey and indeed a testament to what you have done. Just today in today's Globe, Abdoulaye Wade said the following. There's something I commend to you, a piece in the Boston Globe today that's called A Renaissance Takes Hold in Africa. And I want to just close by reading from that op-ed. As a child, I grew up hearing about American ingenuity and had reverence for any product with the label Made in America. One day, in the not-too-distant future, American children will hear about African ingenuity and Made in Africa labels. It is my very great honor to welcome the President of Senegal, Abdoulaye Wade.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to have this opportunity to come back to Harvard College. That is a kind of pelerinage?
Pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage. Because there is some link between me and this area. In 1967, I got a scholarship from Ford Foundation for research in econometrics. And I was attracted to the African Studies Center of Boston University. And instead of making research in African problems, I made research in economics, and mainly in econometrics. And I had some friends here, Professor H.O. Hirschman, and some friends in MIT, Professor Charles Kindleberger, specialist on international relations, and they introduced me to Professor Samuelson and Modigliani. I was so struck by Samuelson's theory that I taught his ID in Dakar when I became professor and dean. And the student used to call me Samuelson. He was my student in that time. Well, I would like to take benefit from the few minutes we have to explain you why the specificities of Senegal. Why Senegal is a full democracy before the other countries in Africa, why we succeed in economic development with a rate of growth of 6.3 for many years. But last year we were struck by the price of petrol, and our rate of growth fell to 3.5. But we are recovering the situation. So why? Senegal was the first French colony with what they called Cochinchine, Vietnam and Cambodia in that time. I talked to the president of Vietnam today, and we recall this history. So Senegal sent a cahier de doléances.
Right, it's the request book.
In the French Revolution, after à Versailles, pendant la Révolution française, à Versailles, aux États généraux de la Révolution française.
To the General States
Senegal
of the
was
French
the only country outside of France to have sent cahier de doléances to the États généraux. And since 1948, Senegal sent member of parliament in the French parliament in Paris, Palais Bourbon. And along the 19th century and the 19th century and the 20th century, Senegal sent regularly member of the parliament, deputy who represent the whole African, Francophone Africa. And the other colonies came to this system in 1945. by sending a member of the party. So Senegalese are accustomed with a mechanism of democracy, with multipartism, with multi-press, multimedia, liberté d'opinion, and so on, and so on. And when the African colonies came to independence in 1960, in general, out of Ghana, Ghana was independent in 1957. All countries, when they become independent, they establish single-party system in everywhere in Africa. The one exception was Senegal, theoretically, because our constitution mentions the la liberté to create parties. And there were at least 6 to 8 opposition parties in that time. But very quickly, Senegal became as the other countries by establishing a kind of single-party system. Single-party system, that means, for election, no opponent in the election. That means also that there is one newspaper, the newspaper of the government. This is a system of single-party system. They put the opponent in prison, and many of the opponents had no way to express their opinion. And they went out of Africa to create a party, to create movement, liberation movement with the aim to recover power by guns. This was general in Africa. In 1974, some friends and me, we decided to create a party for the internal opposition inside the country. This is why we knew that it was very, very difficult, because Senegal was in de facto single-party system with a particular mentality, no tolerance. And fortunately, Senghor was the leader. Senghor is a Christian. Senegal has 95% of Muslims. The Muslim elected Senghor regularly for 20 years. That means that the Muslims in Senegal are very tolerant. We have no consideration about religions in Senegal, no consideration. In my government, I have Catholics and Muslims, of course. And Senghor and me, we tried to establish a democratic system. He recognized me as the leader of the opposition, and we established a dialogue. He received me, and I had opportunity to be received in audience and to discuss some problems. And also at the first election for member legislative elections, I got 18 seats out of 100 in the parliament, and we established progressively a democratic system. But after 20 years in power, and 6 years after I got the group parlementaire, Senghor decided to leave, to resign. And he modified the constitution and introduced an article, 35 article, saying that if the president leaves for any reason, he is replaced by the prime minister for the left of his mandate. This is how he put Mr. Abdou Diouf as president of Senegal, 2 years before the election. And he had time to consolidate his position, to put his men everywhere in the system, in administration, in the army, and everywhere. And also to create a committee of supporters. But this didn't discourage me, because I had a conviction that is, if I organize the people in pacific demonstration sometime, because we need that to push the government for respecting the rights, the rights guaranteed by our constitution. I was sure that one day will come with our party who is very, very, very strong. He will not be able to truquer les élections, comme on dit.
To try to cheat.
To cheat the election. I was sure. Et l'avenir m'a donné raison. L'avenir m'a donné raison. Our relations were very difficult. He put me many times in jail. But each time I was released by the tribunal, saying that this man is not guilty. So, in 2000, we went to election in 2000. My party was very, very strong because everybody know that sometime my rally had about hundreds of people, and sometimes million people. And sometimes the people decide to take the power by demonstration. And some Senegalese, you see, no, my word, I don't want to walk on bodies to get the palace. I want to use democratic ways. So when we went to the election, I won effectively, where the vote took place on Sunday, and we were expecting the result on Wednesday. On Tuesday at 11 o'clock, Abdou Diouf called me to congratulate me, saying that you have won. This is very, very important because his partisans did not accept, and they tried to convince the Minister of Interior, who was formerly the Chief of Army, you know, to oppose me to get the power and to support tricky elections. He didn't accept. This is why the first democratic alternance, change, appears in Senegal. And today, I have very good relations with Abdou Diouf, despite the fact that he put me many times in jail. He come in Senegal, and because I am tolerant, I understood that it was not possible to work out a democratic party without risk. J'ai accepté ces risques. I accepted this risk. So I want to say that also in the economic side, Senegal is a kind of success story. We have one of the best infrastructures of road in Africa, now in Africa. And also, Senegal is the only country, I think, in the world that put 40% of his budget to education. 40%. Maybe there is somewhere in the world another state doing that, but I am not sure. This is c'est un pari.
It's a bet. It's a challenge.
Economic. Because my opinion is that we need for the development, we need human resources. Well-trained human resources, high-level human resources. This is why before I came president, in 2000, there were 2 universities in Senegal. Now I am building 4 more universities in Senegal, in the country. And also, I have created many colleges, many schools, even in the little village. They have in the little village. And I'm sure that in few years, maybe in 10 years or 15 years, when the youth will grow, when the students will finish their studies and become producer in our system, I'm sure that will speed our development and the rate of growth of my country. I would say also that I have some responsibilities in Africa, as I am one of the the founder of NEPAD, New Partnership of African Development. That is a merger of two plans, MAP plan, Millennium African Plan, worked out by President Mbeki and President Obasanjo in that time, President Bouteflika, and the Omega Plan, of which I am the author. We merged these two plans. NEPAD is a very good plan, but it didn't really work. Not because it's not good, it's very, very good, but we make a mistake in Africa. We put as the direction of NEPAD, no, we did not put the right people. We put politicians that understood nothing about management and about economics. And we recognize this. And yesterday we meet, as Jesus said, we meet in New York, and we have decided to meet in Senegal on the 22 November in order to put NEPAD on the right way. Everybody knows that we failed because we did not select the right people. There are some good people, but it was influenced by political consideration. For the student, I would say that NEPAD have selected 8 sectors as main sectors. Infrastructure, education, health, energy, technology of information and communication, access to the market of developed country with tourism, etc. And I applied this in Senegal, developing these 8 sectors. This is why we can reach a high rate of growth. I would say also that one of these sectors, I mean technology of information of communication. I represented Nepal, I mean Africa, in the World Conference of Telecommunication in Geneva in 2003. And I proposed the creation of the digital world digital fund. And we have created this fund. And all countries, members of the United States, support now the Digital Solidarity Fund. And our purpose is to provide Africa in computers. Because my conviction is that the digital system is a chance for Africa. Instead of following the way of the developed countries, you know, from industrialization and so on, we jump in the system, in the net, and to take the knowledge that is in the system. And that allow us for education, we have program of education. The university are connected in the university, many universities in the world, and we are establishing a program for training for the youth, for the civil servant of Senegal. And even in the school, the little school, what we call the Case des Tout-Petits, it's Case des Tout-Petits, the director of the Case des Tout-Petits is lady over there, where it's for children from 2 to 4, and we provide them in toys to master their minds. This is very new in Africa. The children of Africa do not have toys to master their mind. And among these tools, there are computers. So that I'm sure that this generation will be very different from the other generation. I believe in I believe in using computer for education and for training. I have a big program for that, and tomorrow I will meet the Black Caucus, and I have launched a program for Africa, or 200 million computer for Africa. That will be only 40% of the population, that is 700 million, in 5 years. And we're now not claiming for new computers. We will accommodate with second-hand computers, because that the students do not need computers, new computers, and we are sure that we will create a need and demand, because when after in some years they will want to buy new computer. And Bill Gates, he said 2 or 3 years ago, Africa is going to be the biggest market in digital products, mainly in computers. C'est un pari que j'ai fait.
It's a challenge I made for Africa.
Finally, the last word for me is that we are now in the time of African Renaissance. African Renaissance, from Dakar to Pretoria, from Dakar to Johannesburg. And we are building in Senegal a statue, we call a statue de la Renaissance africaine. I don't know if maybe you have the design of this statue. It will be managed with the help of the manager of the Statue de la Liberté à New York. And il est promis à un avenir. No, the last page, please. No? It's this statue, 150 high, highest than the Statue of la Liberté in New York. Mais c'est le hasard de l'arithmétique, because it's on a hill. The hill is high 100 meters, and the statue 50 meters. It represents a man coming from the earth, the deep earth, with his wife and his son facing west. That means Africa stand up now. I'm ready to answer your question.
Would you like to sit down for questions, or would you prefer to stand up? It's up to you.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
You can stand up.
No problem.
Okay. All right. The President has graciously agreed to answer questions. I just want to set the ground rules as usual. We have microphones in 4 locations. One is here, one is there, one is right up here, and one is right there. And the ground rules are very simple. Questions at the Kennedy School have 3 characteristics. They start by the person identifying themselves. Second, they are short and they involve only one thing. They're not multiple. And they end with a question mark. And so
I would say you will have my paper.
Excellent.
It will be translated in English, it's in French.
Thank you very much. Let's start right over here.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Tony Leon. I'm an IOP fellow here, and I was until recently the leader of the parliamentary opposition in South Africa. You quoted in your article this morning in the Boston Globe, if I might read from it, as saying, apart from the epic tragedy of Darfur, famine and tyranny are on the wane throughout the continent. May I ask you about the situation in Zimbabwe, in view of your position as a senior leader of the African Unity? You didn't mention it in your article, or African Union, but what is your view of the tyranny in Zimbabwe, and what do you believe is the collective and individual responsibility of African leaders to return democracy to that country?
Well, now you translate.
Yes, sure.
Okay. il y a 2 mois, j'ai voulu aller au Zimbabwe pour rencontrer mon frère, le président Mugabe.
2 months ago, I
I
wanted
will
to
go
go.
in English, and if I have
Okay.
difficulties, you will translate. 2 months ago, I tried to go to meet President Mugabe. But when I arrived at Brazzaville, and my pilot was tired, and ils ont eu besoin de repos.
So they needed some rest.
Et j'avais une demi-journée pour rencontrer Mugabe,
And I had only a half a day
parce
to meet
qu'il devait
Mugabe,
rejoindre le SADC réunion.
because they had to go to a SADC
This is
meeting,
why, c'est la raison pour laquelle je n'ai
and
pas été.
that's the reason why I did not get to him.
Et j'étais attendu par les populations,
Ça
par,
va,
dans toute la presse.
I was expected by
Et
population
je
everywhere in the
n'ai
press.
pas pu. Hier, je l'ai vu, je me suis excusé et je lui ai expliqué que c'était parce que les pilotes avaient besoin de repos.
Yesterday I saw him and I apologized to him and told
my
him that,
own opinion is that, no, first of all, one word about the history of Zimbabwe. Le Zimbabwe
Zimbabwe
était une colonie,
was a colony,
mais avec des sédentaires blancs
but with white sedentary people.
qui
settled people.
occupaient, disposaient presque de toute la terre.
They owned all the land, basically.
Quand le Zimbabwe est devenu indépendant,
When Zimbabwe got
il est
independent,
clair qu'il y avait là une difficulté,
it was clear there was a
parce qu'il n'est
difficulty,
pas tolérable qu'une partie de la population dispose de presque la totalité des terres, alors que la majorité n'a pas de terre.
because it
Tout le
wasn't
monde convient
acceptable
que
that
ce
only
n'était pas
half of the
normal.
population got all the
C'était le
lands,
produit de
and
l'histoire
most of
et de
them
la
did not get it.
domination de la minorité blanche sur la majorité noire.
It was a product of domination of the white majority
Bon.
over the
Les
major
Anglais
black
en
people.
étaient parfaitement conscients à l'indépendance.
British people were aware of it right at
Et il y a
independence.
eu des négociations à Lancaster House.
So they had negotiation at Lancaster House at that
Et
time.
l'Angleterre avait décidé de dédommager les Blancs, ou certains Blancs, de façon à pouvoir prendre les terres et les restituer aux Noirs.
And England had decided to pay back some of the white people so they can restore the land to the
Je
black
pense que
people.
c'était
there.
le temps de Margaret Thatcher.
That was at the time of Margaret
Et
Thatcher.
elle avait commencé par débourser 25 millions de dollars.
And she started spending $25 billion.
Mais quand Tony Blair est arrivé, il a stoppé.
When Tony Blair got to power, he stopped
Il n'a
that
pas voulu appliquer cette convention.
and did not want to apply that convention. Go
Ça, c'est à l'origine des difficultés.
So that is the
Mais il est
start
vrai
of the
aussi que
problems.
M. Mugabe a des méthodes un peu trop personnelles.
It is true also that Mr. Mugabe has some very personal reactions to methods.
I told him that instead of asking the help of the other heads of state, he took the farm by force and took them to the black. This is not acceptable. Parce que les autres, ils ont des propriétés qu'ils ont mises en valeur, qu'ils ont héritées aussi de leurs parents. Donc,
Because the others had properties that they put
moi
a lot of
j'étais
value to it.
pour un changement pacifique.
So I wanted a pacific change, peaceful change.
Et donc, la situation, c'est celle-là aujourd'hui.
So that's the situation
Que font
today.
les chefs d'État africains?
So what are the African heads of state doing?
Moi, je pense que nous, chefs d'État africains, nous n'avons pas suffisamment aidé le Zimbabwe.
I think that we heads of state of Africa,
Nous
we
avons
did not
laissé le
help Zimbabwe
Zimbabwe
sufficiently.
avec ses difficultés.
We let Zimbabwe
Et
with
chaque fois,
difficulties.
à chaque réunion, on dit, ah, on laisse Thabo Mbeki aller régler le problème
And
du
at
Zimbabwe.
every meeting we would say,
Thabo Mbeki,
we
le président
leave Thabo
of South
Mbeki take
Africa.
care of
Or,
this president
Thabo
of South
Mbeki tout seul
Africa.
ne peut pas régler le problème.
While the man alone cannot
Depuis
solve the
8
problem.
ans que je suis président de la République, c'est toujours la même chose. On dit, ah, Thabo Mbeki, what happened in Zimbabwe? He said, I meet the president and so and so.
For the
Mais
past
il n'y a pas
8
de
years that
changement.
I've been the president there, every
Alors,
time they
j'étais
say,
parti
Thabo
au
Mbeki, what have you
Zimbabwe
done for
pour
the
pouvoir
president?
parler à Mugabe et voir comment nous, chefs d'État africains, à l'Union africaine, comment nous pouvons l'aider.
So I wanted to see
Comment nous
Mugabe
pouvons
and see
aider
how
le
us
pays.
heads of state Africa,
Le
we could
pays
help
dont
the country.
l'économie est complètement
Country which
détruite,
economy is totally
avec
destroyed
6000% de taux d'inflation,
with 6,000% of inflation rate.
scarcity of goods, et beaucoup trop de difficultés.
And a lot of difficulties.
Nous devons avoir une rencontre à Lisbonne, Europe, Afrique. au mois de
There's a
décembre.
meeting in
The
Lisbon in
summit,
December.
Europe,
The
Africa,
summit,
in December.
Africa, Europe.
But Mr. Gordon, Prime Minister of Great Britain, he said that if Mugabe come, he will not come. England will not come, will not join. And we have these difficulties. But the other day, he said that Mugabe peut ne pas venir, mais il faudrait qu'il envoie quelqu'un. Mais lui, physiquement, il ne faut pas qu'il vienne.
But he himself physically
Et
should
nous
not
avons
come.
ce problème.
And that's the problem we're facing right now. And there is a risk of failure for this meeting
J'ai
here.
parlé à Mugabe
So
hier,
I
il a
spoke
dit,
to
si on
Mugabe
m'invite, j'y
yesterday,
vais.
and he said that, you know,
Si on
I'm on the
m'invite
list,
pas, je ne
I'm
vais
going to
pas,
go.
mais
And
si on
if
m'invite,
they don't
nous avons
invite
donc
me, I'm
cette
not going to go.
difficulté.
But
Mais le problème est que, my opinion is that, il n'y a aucun problème insoluble dans le monde.
so there is no problem in the world that
Ce
one
qui
cannot
manque, ce sont
solve.
des bonnes volontés, de l'imagination et
Only
des initiatives.
goodwill, imagination, and initiative that is needed.
Right here.
Lionel Perez, I'm a mid-career from France. Mr. President, how do you wish to direct the relationship of your country with France, with United States, and with China?
Je gère ça très bien.
I managed it very well.
J'ai rencontré le président de la Banque mondiale
I met the World Bank
il y a
president
2 jours.
2 days ago.
Il m'a félicité
He
pour ce
congratulated
que je
me
suis en train de
for
faire
what
au
I'm doing
Sénégal.
in Senegal.
Et il a promis d'augmenter les ressources
And he promised to increase the resources
allouées au Sénégal et à l'Afrique.
that are attributed to
Presque
Senegal,
multipliées par 3.
almost multiplied by 3.
Et ça, parce que le président Bush m'a recommandé au président de la Banque
And
mondiale.
that is because I've been recommended by
Cela veut
President
dire
Bush, the
que,
President of
comme vous
World
savez, j'ai
Bank.
de très bonnes relations avec
So,
les
meaning we have
États-Unis.
very good relationship with the United
Mais,
States.
mais,
But
aujourd'hui,
today,
vous savez, l'Europe,
you know, Europe in general,
comme vieille nation, vieille civilisation,
old nation, old
ne
civilization,
peut pas suivre la Chine ni l'Inde
cannot keep up with
sur
the
le
rhythm
plan
of China
commercial.
or India.
C'est un problème
On the
que
trade
j'évoque
level.
souvent avec Sarkozy, au G8.
That the G8, that's the problem I always talk to Sarkozy about.
Je l'ai évoqué.
I've talked to him about
Et
it.
j'ai dit à nos amis du G8,
And I told my friends at the G8,
vos programmes sont trop longs.
your programs are too long.
Il y a des études interminables.
There are endless studies that are
And
carried
once
out.
in New York, I attended a meeting with Chirac, with the Brazilian president, all presidents were there, and also the president of World Bank. Et j'ai interpellé le président de la Banque mondiale, who was my big friend, my
And I
very
called on
close
the
friend.
World Bank president.
I told him, how many times we need, if I want to build 100 kilometers, how many times you need to begin the construction? I said, at least 5 years. He said, President Watt is right. Il y a trop de bureaucratie.
There is too much red
Je l'ai dit
tape.
au nouveau président de la Banque mondiale. And l'autre jour, je suis en train de construire une autoroute.
So I'm building a highway. The other day, I was
La Banque
talking
mondiale s'est engagée à participer à la construction de l'autoroute.
the World Bank committed to participate
Non
in
pas
the
pour
construction.
construire toute l'autoroute, mais just for
Not to
participation.
build it, but
Mais
like
c'était
say,
tellement long
it was so slow
que j'ai envoyé une mission en Chine.
that I sent a mission to China.
Ça a duré 10-15 jours.
It
La Chine a
lasted 15
décidé.
days. And
La
China
Chine a
said, okay.
décidé. La Chine a décidé de construire l'autoroute. You know, I'm playing a very open game with all my friends. I'm ruling a country. I am for competition. I am for free market. This is why even Iran is building a factory for automobile in Senegal using a French license, Peugeot. I said, as the French sells the license to Iran with the right to build factories everywhere in the world, why I will not accept Iran to build these cars in Senegal avec des prix qui seront la moitié du prix de la
What's the
Peugeot en
prices? They'll
France.
be half of
And
what
the
it costs
French
in France.
they accept this play. So, comment je manage les trois?
So how do I manage the three?
You should know also that there are some other, quelques autres puissances qui viennent au
There
Sénégal.
are some major
Dubai,
countries
Dubai,
that come to
Dubai.
Senegal.
Dubai is building the port of the future in Senegal. J'ai fait une compétition internationale.
So I made an international tender.
Et il y a eu des
international
candidats
competitive.
français et le candidat est Dubai Port.
French contenders,
Dubai,
Dubai
Port
Port,
a gagné
and Dubai Port
clairement.
won clearly.
Parce que là où le candidat français disait qu'il
Whereas-
construit le port en 2020, Dubaï dit nous commençons en 2008 et nous finissons en 2012.
The French companies wanted to build the harbor in 2020,
there is
and Dubai
a
said they
very
would
big
do it
problem-
starting in
a
2008
very
and
big
finish in
problem for
2012.
Europe. Ce n'est pas la même chose pour les États-Unis.
it's
Les
not the same
États-Unis,
thing for the United
c'est un
States.
grand pays, ils investissent aux États-Unis, ça tourne.
They invest in the United
C'est
States,
une économie
and,
domestique qui
investment
tourne. Ils n'ont
is
pas
a
besoin de
domestic
nous.
economy that
Ils
grows
n'ont
here.
pas
They
besoin
don't
de
need
nous.
outside.
Mais l'Europe a besoin de
But
l'Afrique.
Europe needs
Mais ils n'arrivent
Africa,
plus à exporter.
but they can't export anymore.
Comme je suis en train de développer l'agriculture, j'ai acheté
Since I'm
en
developing
Inde
agriculture,
des machines agricoles. Il y en a
I
des
bought
milliers de
machines
machines agricoles,
from
des
India,
pompes et tout cela.
motor
Parce que ça ne
pumps.
coûte pas très cher.
It does not so
You know,
expensive.
nous sommes dans la globalisation.
We're in the
Free market
globalization,
economy,
free
que
market.
le meilleur gagne. C'est ça la
Let
situation.
the best win.
Right up here.
Bonsoir, Mr. President. My name is Terrence Gilchrist. I'm finishing my Master in Public Administration here. I am appreciative of your visit to the university. During the past couple of years, the African Union has been discussing the prospects of the United States of Africa. What will it take to bring this about, and what role will Senegal play in making it happen in our lifetime?
Le Sénégal est leader dans la construction des États-Unis d'Afrique.
Senegal is the leader
Et
in
je
the
pense
construction
que
of
je
the States of
suis
Africa.
le plus authentique représentant
But
de
I-
Kwame Nkrumah.
But I think I'm the most authentic representative of Kwame Nkrumah.
J'avais un grand partenaire, c'était le président Obasanjo.
I had a major partner,
Et
President
nous avons
Obasanjo,
organisé, l'Union africaine a organisé différentes réunions
and the African Union
sur
held several
le thème
meetings
un gouvernement
on the
continental
theme a continental
vers les
government
États-Unis d'Afrique.
towards the United States of
Nous avons
Africa.
tenu une réunion à Kampala.
We had a meeting in
Et la
Kampala,
dernière réunion a eu lieu à Abuja sous la
and
présidence
the
du
last
président
one was
Obasanjo.
in Abuja,
Il était
chaired
parti.
by President
Maintenant, il y a
Obasanjo.
un changement
Now there's a
au
change
Nigeria.
in Nigeria.
Et bon, je ne
And,
suis pas. Le nouveau président m'a invité
The
pour
new
aller lui
president has invited
expliquer
me for me to come and explain to
exactement
him
qu'est-ce que c'est
exactly
que cette opinion des
what
États-Unis d'Afrique.
is about
Mais je peux vous
what are
dire
the main opinions.
que presque tous les chefs d'État africains sont d'accord sur
But I can tell
l'objectif
you
des
that
États-Unis
almost
d'Afrique.
all heads of state
Et
of
sont
Africa are
d'accord sur
agreeable
le gouvernement
to. They
continental.
agree with the continental government.
Mais how to get it?
Right.
Comment y arriver? C'est ça le problème.
So how to get there, that's
Alors,
what we are.
nous avions récemment décidé
So we had recently decided
13 pays,
13
puis
countries
20 pays
and then 20 countries
à construire les États-Unis d'Afrique,
to build the United States of
même
Africa,
si les autres ne veulent pas venir.
even if the others did not want to join.
Nous avons dit que nous allions bénéficier de l'exemple des États-Unis,
Say that we were going to benefit
qui ont
from the
mis
example of
plus
the
d'un
United
siècle
States.
à construire ce
It
pays.
took them more than more than a
Depuis les
century
13
to build this
pays,
country.
depuis la Pennsylvanie, je
Since
crois, le
the
premier
13th
État,
country, Pennsylvania, the first
jusqu'au
state,
dernier,
all the way to the
ça a
last
demandé
one,
83 ans,
it
si
took
je ne me
like
trompe,
83
construire
years,
les
if I'm
États-Unis
not
dans leur
mistaken.
forme actuelle. Et ils étaient partis, un petit
So
groupe de
they
13.
started with a very small
Alors,
group
nous
of
aussi, nous avons
13,
dit, nous allons,
and we too, we said,
petit nombre,
we are going
commencer
to start
les
with a
États-Unis
small
d'Afrique
number,
et les
start with
autres,
the
au
United
fur et
States
à
of
mesure
Africa,
qu'ils
and
se
the others
rendront compte
will join progressively.
que ce n'est qu'avantage, ils viendront. Nous ne voulons
This is
pas
just an adventure that will come.
supprimer les gouvernements actuels.
We do not want to
Parce
suppress
que
actual
beaucoup
governments,
avaient peur qu'on supprime les gouvernements
because a
actuels,
lot were
qu'on supprime les
afraid for us
présidents
to
actuels. Nous,
suppress
on
this
ne
government,
touche
to
pas.
get rid of the current
Mais
presidents.
au-dessus, nous allons
We're not going
mettre
to get
des
them out.
ministres
Above,
pour
we're going to
manager
set some
certains
ministers
domaines
who will manage some areas
qu'aucun pays ne peut pas faire.
that
Par
no
exemple, les
one
routes,
single country can do
les
alone.
routes
For example,
intra-régionales ou continentales, par
intra-regional
exemple,
roads,
les problèmes de la
continental roads,
santé, les problèmes de l'environnement.
health problem, environment
Donc,
problems,
à peu près 15 à 18 domaines
almost
que nous voulons
18,
gérer
15
au
to
niveau
18
continental.
area we
Mais
want to
nous
manage
avons quand même,
at the continental level.
depuis quelque temps, quelques difficultés pour
But
avancer.
we have, for
Mais
the
cela
past
ne
year,
nous
a couple of
décourage
difficulties
pas,
to go forward,
parce que nous
but we're not
pensons que
discouraged.
au moment où les grands pays
But
se constituent partout,
we think that
les États-Unis,
major settings,
l'Europe,
major
la
countries
Chine,
are constituting,
l'Inde,
getting
le Brésil,
born everywhere,
si
India,
l'Afrique reste
Brazil.
divisée en petits
If
États,
Africa remains divided in
avec
small countries,
des petites
with
économies,
tiny
nous ne
economies,
pourrons pas nous en
we will
sortir.
never get out of a pit.
Notre seule chance est
So
de
our
construire un
only
grand
chance
espace
is to
économique
build
et
a
politique,
major political and economic
n'est-ce pas, pour
space
pouvoir bénéficier
so
des
we
économies
can
d'échelle
benefit from a scale
et
economy
pour pouvoir
and
compter.
be able to count
Et nous avons
on
proposé
our
à
own.
l'Europe
And we have proposed to
un
Europe
partenariat.
a partnership.
Nous sommes en train de réfléchir
We
avec
are
l'Europe sur un
just
partenariat.
thinking about that
Parce que
with
d'après les
Europe,
prévisions,
but
l'Europe
according
n'a
to
pas de chance d'être
provisions,
parmi les grandes
Europe
puissances
does not
de demain.
have any more
Pas de
chance
chance.
to become part of
Les
the
Européens
major
le savent.
power in the
Mais
future.
l'Europe
The
et
Europeans
l'Afrique,
know that.
peut-être qu'on peut
But
construire
Europe and Africa, if we
ce
get
que
together,
j'appelle,
perhaps
moi,
we could
Alliance
constitute
Europe-Afrique.
an alliance,
Alliance
Europe-Africa.
Europe-Afrique. Et nous allons en
And
parler à Lisbonne.
we are going to
au
talk
sommet
about this in Lisbon during the Africa-Europe Summit.
Right here.
Good evening, President Wade. My name is Julia Bertelsmann, and I am a junior at the college from South Africa. You have been a very outspoken critic of NEPAD for its unwillingness to criticize and put pressure on governments that are guilty of undemocratic practices. In your response to Tony Leon, you said that this failure may have been because people like my president, Thabo Mbeki, can't do it alone. But to what extent have your fellow liberal or democratic leaders on the continent not even done the things that they can do? To what extent have they not been willing partners in your project to democratize the region and put pressure on despots?
Oui, alors je voulais vous dire une chose. Hein. Nous avons parfois des différences d'opinion, Thabo Mbeki et moi, mais c'est normal dans la vie. Hein. On n'est pas des gens uniformes, mais nous sommes très amis.
Thabo Mbeki and I, we are very good friends.
Et à propos des États-Unis d'Afrique, je suis allé le voir personnellement il n'y a pas très longtemps, à propos du NEPAD.
Concerning NEPAD, I went to
Parce
see
que
him not long ago
le NEPAD ne marche pas.
because NEPAD does not work.
Moi, je l'ai dit depuis le début,
I said it at the outset.
parce que celui qui dirigeait le NEPAD, on a dit qu'il était économiste, mais moi, en tant que professeur d'économie, il m'a fallu lui parler pendant 5 minutes pour savoir qu'il n'était pas
Because they
économiste.
said that the person who was running NEPAD,
C'était
I was
un
told he was an
comptable,
economist.
c'était un comptable.
And me,
Il
I'm
nous a
an economist, and
fait
I had to speak to him for
J'ai
over
donc- je
several
suis
minutes
donc
for him to
allé
understand what I
trouver
was
votre
saying.
président.
So I went then to see your
Et
president,
lui-même a reconnu
and
que
he
le NEPAD
himself
n'avait pas marché. Il a reconnu.
recognized
You can
that
tell him.
NEPAD
You can
did
write
not.
it.
You can write to him.
You tell
He
him that the
recognized.
president what said, you recognize that NEPAD failed. He recognized it. And even the man from Mozambique we put as the Secretary General, he said he failed also. And this is why we all have decided to meet in Dakar in order to put NEPAD in the right way. Because these people did not understand what was NEPAD. NEPAD has nothing to do with the politics inside of our countries. You know, each year, NEPAD, they take the statistic. Africa has built X kilometers of road, X school. As I said, Africa is growing well, so NEPAD has succeeded in. I said, no, this is not problem of NEPAD. NEPAD has nothing to do with what we are realizing in our country. He should deal only with the projects, the trans-regional project, the project over regions or the trans-African project. They did not understand. Yesterday, only I explained this to the current president of Nepal, that's Mr. Prime Minister Meles, and he accepted, he recognized that. We now, from January, we will put Nepal on the right way. Sometimes we have some difficulties. South Africa, I can say that ils marchent trop lentement par rapport à nous.
They're too slow in relation to us.
Why? Because we understand that. We understand the history of South Africa. We understand the political system of South Africa. Because you have many parliaments, because Mr. Thabo Mbeki cannot take a decision without consulting the parliaments. He used to say that. And while I, as president of Senegal, at any time I can take decisions to involve Senegal in a political unity in Africa, because this is in our constitution. Our constitution of 1963, you can look on the constitution of Senegal. Senghor put a disposition qui dit que at any time Senegal can join an African unity and aliéner son indépendance, sa souveraineté.
And negate his sovereignty.
C'est la seule constitution d'Afrique qui contient ça. Or, le président de la République est là pour respecter la Constitution.
The President of the Republic is here to safeguard the
Pourquoi
Constitution.
moi j'ai un mandat d'engager le
I
Sénégal
have a
dans la
mandate
construction.
to commit
Mais
Senegal
certains pays,
in the
comme
construction.
l'Afrique du Sud,
In some
comme
countries,
l'Algérie,
however, like
peut-être le
South
Nigeria,
Africa,
le président
Algeria,
Macky,
Nigeria, most
il
of
faut
these
qu'ils
countries,
retournent consulter
they
les
have
parlements,
to go
avoir
consult the
l'autorisation,
parliaments
etc.
to have
C'est pour ça que
authorization
nous ne
to
marchons
interact
pas
with
au
the
même rythme.
Constitution. That's why we're not going at the same pace.
Mais le Mali a la même
But
disposition que le
Mali
Sénégal.
also has the same disposition as Senegal, the same constitutional disposition.
Right over here.
Nangadef, Monsieur President.
Ça va, Mangifi?
My name is Wangari Kibuchi. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a second-year MPID student. And my question is, after President Sarkozy from France had a speech on July 26th of this year, where he said, and I quote, "The traditional African man has never launched himself towards the future and rests immobile in the center of a static order where everything seems to have been written beforehand. There has been an outrage all over the African continent in response to which Madame Konaré and other historians are writing a book. What is your reaction and opinion to the speech and the
You see,
African outrage?"
Vous savez, let me tell you something. You know, the one president, African president, who understands Sarkozy was Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki understood, and he congratulated President Sarkozy. You know, as president, we know that many times our speeches are written by some other people. C'est ça la vérité.
That's the truth.
And in the case of Sarkozy, we know who wrote his paper. And when Sarkozy went to Senegal, he made a stop in Libya. His collaborator did not come with the delegation because he said he was looking over the paper. And Sarkozy came to Senegal, and when he had to go to the university, he got the speech just when he was entering the amphitheater. C'est ça la vérité. But I think that ce jugement est faux.
That's the wrong
Non, ce n'est pas
apprehension.
exact.
Right.
Ce sont des vieilles théories que
Those
nous,
are
on a
old
connues
theories that
quand on était
we
étudiant
all
et qu'on a combattu.
knew when we were students, and we
But
fought.
what is important is that Sarkozy do not believe in this because he know me, and he always il est tout le temps en train de me féliciter.
He's always congratulating me on things I
Comme le
do.
premier Africain agrégé de
Because
l'université
he says I'm the
française.
first aggregated teacher
Et
at
aussi,
French, from a
il faut
French
comprendre
university.
que le discours qu'il a tenu ici, dans la quatrième commission dealing with the financing of climate changing, C'était le seul chef
He
d'État
was
de
the
l'Ouest
only head of
qui
state
était venu
from the West
présent et qui a
who
fait
was
un excellent
present
discours.
in there, and he made a
Et son
wonderful
discours aux
speech.
Nations Unies est un discours engagé.
And his speech at the United Nations
Engagé
was
dans le
a
combat
very
que nous
well
menons,
committed
nous, en
speech
Afrique.
towards
Et
the fight that
maintenant,
we are struggling, we are
il est
leading.
mieux compris par les Africains qui savent que c'est un homme aussi qui dit ce qu'il pense. Un peu
Now
comme
he's
moi.
better
Pourquoi
understood
nous
by
l'entendons
Africans
bien,
who knows that he's somebody who
des fois,
speaks in his mind.
nous avons des controverses.
Sometimes we have some
Quand il était ministre
change
de
of
l'Intérieur,
opinion, some contrary
il avait
opinions.
fait un plan disant qu'il proposait l'immigration choisie.
When he was Minister of Interior, he said that he made a plan
J'ai
where
dit
he
non,
said he made
parce que si vous choisissez
selected
vos
immigration.
immigrés, vous allez choisir nos docteurs,
If
nos
you select
mathématiciens,
your
nos,
immigrant, you are
nos
going to
cadres.
take our doctors,
Et si
our
moi aussi je dis
mathematicians,
je choisis,
and if I say too that
it
I'm
doesn't
going
make
to
sense.
select, this is not going to work.
si chacun dit je choisis ce que je veux, il
If
faut pas
everybody
s'entendre.
says I'm going to select what I want,
Alors
then it's not
maintenant,
going to work.
je lui ai proposé
So
l'immigration concertée.
now I have proposed to him
Maintenant, il parle
concerted
d'immigration
immigration.
concertée. Mais il faut lui pardonner cette erreur
So you
historique
have to forgive him that
qui a
historical
été faite par
error
un de ses collaborateurs.
that was made by one of his co-workers,
Moi aussi,
collaborators.
parfois, on me donne un discours, mais
Sometimes
je l'ai
me too,
lu,
they
je l'ai
give me
lu
some,
avant de venir.
but I read them before I give them.
Je les mets. I put the speech in my computer. You know, one of my advisors is the specialist for writing speech. But le discours que je fais finalement est très différent de ce qu'il m'a
But the
proposé.
final speech that I've come up with is totally different sometimes from what he wrote at the beginning.
We have time for two more questions. Two more questions. One right there.
Mr. President, Matthew Perkins from the Harvard Business School and previously of the UK's Department for International Development. In 2001, the WTO launched the Doha round of negotiations offering development benefits for Africa and many other countries. To date, little has been done. My question is, what's your opinion of the round? Is it doomed? And if so, what should Africa be doing to achieve trade liberalization?
Oui. Bon, vous savez, nous sommes dans une université.
So we are in a university here.
Donc, vous n'êtes pas obligé d'avoir la même opinion que les politiciens.
So you're not obliged to have the same
Quand on
opinion as
parle de l'aide,
politicians.
vous, universitaires, vous devez aller dans les documents et chercher.
When we talk about
Quelle est la
assistance,
définition de l'aide?
you have to go
Quels
in
sont
the
les
books
chiffres de l'aide?
and
Et
try
vous
to
faites les
find
calculs.
what is it
Vous
about.
verrez que ça n'a
Do
rien à
some
voir avec les
calculations
chiffres qu'on
and
proclame.
see. And you will see that it doesn't have anything to do with the numbers
C'est
programmed.
vrai qu'il y a un flux
But it is
de
true,
ressources
there is
qui va
a
des
flow
institutions
of resources
multilatérales, la Banque mondiale, le FMI,
that goes through
qui
the
vont des
multinational
pays
institution
développés vers l'Afrique. C'est vrai.
and that is designed to
L'Union
go towards
européenne et
African
tout, c'est vrai.
countries, developing
Mais
countries,
pas dans la proportion
but
qu'on
not
affirme. Mais,
in the proportion
ça n'a
that
pas
is
d'importance.
stated. But it doesn't matter.
Le problème est j'ai participé au sommet du G8
I have attended
à
the
Kananaskis au
G8
Canada.
meeting in Kananaskis in Canada.
Canada. We launched there an action plan for Africa. But it never operates till now. The second meeting, the other meeting I participated was in Green Eagle in England. Mr. Tony Blair invited the G8 to launch a new program with an head resource, $50 billion. We have never seen any dollar. Et à notre dernière réunion
During our last meeting
en Allemagne,
in Germany,
Madame la chancelière
the lady
de
chancellor,
l'Allemagne a dit,
Germany.
Messieurs, nous reconnaissons
she said,
que
we
les
recognize
promesses que nous avons faites n'ont pas été exécutées.
that the promises we made, we did not carry them out.
And this current meeting is just to implement what we promised before. ce meeting, nous le tenons
And
pour
she said that this
exécuter
meeting
ce que
this
nous avons
time
promis avant.
is just specifically designed to
Nous avons
implementing
dit,
what
OK,
we
vous
have
avez
promised
reconnu que
before.
Ce que vous avez promis, vous ne l'avez pas donné.
So what you promised before, you did not do it.
Mais cette réunion a eu lieu il y a plus de 8 mois.
So about more than 8
Et on
months
n'a pas
ago,
encore sorti un dollar.
and till now, there is no one penny spent out on
De
this.
sorte que je pense qu'à partir de l'année prochaine,
I think that starting next year,
nous en Afrique, nous allons aborder une nouvelle attitude.
in Africa, we're going to adopt a new attitude
Pour dire aux pays développés, si vous nous promettez de
to
l'argent,
tell developing countries, if you promise money to us,
un fonds NEPAD.
we are going to create a
If you
NEPAD
promise
fund.
us money, you put the money in the fund. And we can manage together the fund. I don't mind if the high manager of the fund is American or French or German. I don't mind for that. But they should give us the money. Not promise, always promise, no. Or the other possibility is that if they promise, let's say, because in Allemagne, they promise also $50 billion. Ils nous demandent des projets
They're asking
à
for
exécuter.
projects to be implemented.
Mais nous ne pouvons pas continuer comme
But
ça avec
we
des promesses
cannot
qui ne sont
continue
jamais
like this with
exécutées.
promises
Ce que je
that
vous
are
dis là,
never kept.
c'est officiel. Les choses se sont
That's
passées
official. That's the way exactly
Donc,
things
beaucoup de
happened.
promesses sans grand
A lot of promises without anything.
This will be the last question.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Matai Mutimele, and unfortunately, I'm also from South Africa. Mr. President, you've spoken very proudly about your country's democratic traditions. And indeed, as a young black South African, I'm also very proud of your country's achievements. Mr. President, I'd like to ask a question directly about Senegal. Firstly, let me just say that I'd also like to congratulate you for your country's success in the economic area. I'm informed that your country has achieved a growth rate of averaging 5% over the last 5 years. However, poverty is still very widespread in Senegal. Indeed, your unemployment rate hovers around 50%, and illiteracy rates are around 60%. I'd like to ask what your government is doing to address those problems. And also, I'd like to say, as a young black African, I'd like to know if I can look forward to a day when governance delivers a better life to its people and not only just democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. You see, I think that the definition of poverty undertaken by United Nations is not good. Poverty is not problem of having a revenue under $2 a day. No, I don't agree with that. Poverty is a group of lacks, of shortage. The poor cannot access to Medicare, no, for health. Their children cannot access to education. Themselves, they live dans les masures, pas dans les maisons.
They live in slums, not in houses, really.
L'environnement et la misère.
The environment
I have
is misery.
selected 6 particularities to define poverty. Si vous ne réalisez pas un des objectifs,
If you don't
toujours
reach
dans
one
la
of the
pauvreté.
6 objectives I have designed, you
What
will
we
still
are
remain
doing in
in
Senegal.
poverty.
We have launched a plan we call Jahai. Jahai is the eagle. Eagle. It seems that eagle has very good
Eyesight.
perçant, il voit tout.
Very sharp eyesight.
Notre idée était de montrer aux
And our
Sénégalais
idea
que
was to show
nous
Senegalese
sommes
people that
au pouvoir, mais nous
we
regardons la
are,
situation du
we
peuple.
in the power, we have a look over
Le
all what's going
plan
on.
consiste
So the program
à
consists
créer des
in
cités.
creating some cities, housing dwellings.
With a program of housing. The first year, I put $160 million for this program, the first year. And I call the Senegalese entrepreneur. And I tell them that it's not only to the government to try to help people. You also. You should commit with me to fight poverty. And they accept. 11 Senegalese entrepreneurs, with one French, one Spanish. They are building these cities in Senegal. And I draw out the plan, the first plan. Usually the first plan, it was performed by my architect. And now we built a very nice house in Senegal. I think you can get the TV, Senegalese TV. One day you will see these cities. The particularity is that these houses are very cheap. With $70 per month, $70 per mois, one can get a nice house in Senegal. C'est un exploit. Et ils payent ça en 20 ans.
It's a major achievement.
Donc,
and they're paying it in
les
20
salariés
years.
qui ont les taux, qui ont les salaires les plus faibles,
So workers with the very smallest
avoir une
salary
maison
can afford a house
Senegal.
in Senegal.
getting the house, they will get also health because il y a des dispensaires dans la cité,
Because they
hospital.
have care houses, nursing houses
There are
around the city.
schools for the children. L'environnement est propre.
The
Il y a
environment
l'adduction
is
d'eau.
safe and sane. There's
Et
water
maintenant, nous
supply.
construisons à peu près 3000 maisons par an.
And we're building approximately 3,000 units a year.
Our ambition is to build 700,000 houses. It's too big. But certain businessmen,
So some of the businessmen there,
like Malaysian
like
companies, they came to Senegal and they participate in building this house. Il y a la Malaisie et puis un autre pays, je crois, l'Espagne, Spain also. Because for me, the one way to eliminate poverty is build house. Mais quand il n'y a pas de maison, on ne peut pas être.
when there's no
Of
house,
course,
really,
we
you
have
cannot
a
get out
big
of
part
it.
of our people that are not the standard of living. Mais nous avons décidé de transporter le système des Jahai pour les paysans.
But we have decided to transplant this Jahai system, which is the eagle
for
system, to the
peasants.
farmers, to the
And
peasants.
we have launched a program of modern farmers in Senegal. Modern farms, nous encadrons les paysans et
We supervise them, farmers.
nous avons obtenu l'équipement de
And
l'Inde.
we have gotten the equipment from India, a lot of
beaucoup de
machines, a lot of
machines,
tractors and things like that,
tracteurs,
motor
tout
pumps
ça, pour développer
to
l'agriculture.
develop agriculture.
Je pense que c'est la seule voie.
So I think that this is
Donner à
the
quelqu'un
only
de
way.
l'argent, un pauvre,
Because giving
vous
somebody
donnez de
money,
l'argent,
if you give
vous
money
ne
to a
combattez
poor
pas la
guy, you're
pauvreté.
not fighting poverty.
Vous le sauvez pendant
You're
une
just
journée
helping
ou
him
deux.
for a day or two.
Mais il faut le mettre dans
But
une
you have to put him into a house,
maison décente.
a decent house,
Parce que
because
moi, je ne peux pas
because
comprendre
I cannot
que les
understand
populations
that
vivent
populations could
dans des
live
zones misérables.
in miserable areas, miserable conditions.
Je rase
So
les quartiers
I
misérables.
clear miserable districts, I
Et
get
je
rid of them
transporte ces
completely
populations
and
dans ces maisons
transport
avec- dans
this
ces
population
conditions
to
que je vous ai
houses in the conditions I just explained to you.
Et comme ces endroits, en
And,
général,
since
sont
these
des
areas
bas-fonds,
are basically low
quand
lands,
il y a la pluie,
when it
l'eau
rains,
inonde,
that
et va
whole
dans les
place
maisons,
is flooded, houses are flooded
nous
completely.
creusons des lacs.
So we have taken those population out of those lowland area and made lakes there, I'm sorry.
Mais encore faut-il bien
But it's a
commencer.
very long fight, but one must
Je
start it
crois qu'au
at least.
Sénégal, nous avons bien
I think in
commencé.
Senegal we have started
Parce
very
que
well
mes collègues chefs
because
d'État,
my colleagues, my
quand ils viennent au
peers, heads of
Sénégal,
state,
la
when they
première
come
chose
to
qu'ils me disent,
Senegal,
nous allons voir
the
les
first thing
maisons
they tell me,
Jahai.
let's go see at those Jahai
Ils s'en
houses.
inspirent.
and to get inspired from that. But of course, this poverty is in Africa, there's no doubt about it. Poverty has been generated from the change from the former system of Africa to the modern system, because big cities generates poverty. People come from outside. In the traditional Africa, this did not exist. We had our huts, and every year we would change the roofing of it. So there was no problem. But now we are in the modern world. We build major big cities, Dakar, Johannesburg, and Lagos, and all that, right? So there's misery. I mean, we create misery with this.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Mr. President, it has been a very great honor to have you here. Both your energy and your vision are an inspiration to us all. I wish you safe journeys and good governance. Thank you very much.